What's going on, guys? Matt O'Leary back with another video this morning to recap the late night signings from the New York Jets to preview day 2. It was a very busy day yesterday for me. We did the live stream from, first we did Big Apple Blitz. If you haven't watched that yet, make sure to subscribe to that channel. It's a lot of fun. It's me and Anthony Rivardo of Fireside Giants. He covers the Giants side. I cover the Jets side. It's the New York football show every Monday and Thursday at 11 a.m. That channel is linked down below and all that stuff. And then from 12 to 5, we live streamed through free agency. The Jets signed no one. Did a video recapping the Jets' quiet day. Went on at 6:30 with Connor. And then by around 11 o'clock, Joe Douglas said, all right, it's time to start making some moves, and ended up signing 3 guys between 11 and 12 at night. So instead of, I'm glad I didn't just come on and be like, hey, the Jets signed John Simpson, because after that it was, hey, the Jets signed Javon Kinlaw, and then, hey, the Jets signed Tyrod Taylor. So figured I'd recap in the morning, preview day 2, and yes, good news, we are live streaming again for day 2 starting at noon. All right, let's talk about John Simpson. So this was not necessarily a guy who was on my radar. He's a left guard, exclusively played left guard with both Vegas and Baltimore. It was a 2-year deal at $18 million. So relatively cheap in comparison to what some of these other guards have been getting. He's 26 years old. He's started 2 years in the league. One was 2023 with Baltimore last year at left guard, and one was in 2021 in Vegas at left guard. And there's some good things, some not so great things. Overall feel on him, I don't think he is horrible. I don't think he is great. I think best case scenario, he's an average starter, but at times might be a little bit below average. And I'll explain why. So the pros, we'll start with the good things first, because there are some really good things. He's a durable player. He's given up low sack numbers in the 2 years that he started, just 1 in 2023 and 3 in 2021. He plays with a nasty streak to his game. He plays with a little bit of an edge. That's something that Joe Douglas usually likes with his offensive linemen. And let's be honest, the Jets' offensive line at times got pushed around over the last couple of years, and Simpson's someone who kind of won't take that. And he's a mauler in the run game, which, again, that's something that Joe Douglas absolutely loves. That's why he was attracted to Mekhi Becton. That's what he liked about AVT. That's what he liked about Joe Tippmann. And that's very obviously what he likes as well about John Simpson. Now, there are some negative things, and one is while the sack numbers are low, he's probably just okay in pass protection, which you sign up for okay for at that price, right? Like, I guess maybe I'm just slightly underwhelmed with who they decided was their first signing, but obviously there's still much more they can do on the offensive line. So I'm going to say, TBD, and let's hold out until we see the finished product. But something that really jumps out that is an issue and that needs to be talked about is he's a penalty machine. The 2 years that he's started full seasons in the NFL in 2023, he had 11 penalties this year, and he had 10 penalties in 2021. So he's good for double-digit penalties in a full season of starting. I hope that is something that is cleaned up. But when you look at the New York Jets offensive line last year, that was one of their biggest issues. And their biggest thing with this team was they were one of the most penalized teams, especially on the offensive line. And you looked at the Raiders game last year, that was a game that cost them because of penalties. And that is a little bit what irks me. Is it nitpicky? Yes. Did I want to show all sides of these guys? Yeah, I think it's fair to talk about the good things and talk about the things that are not so great. And then you come to your decision at the end where you are. Again, I'm not saying that John Simpson stinks and this is the worst signing of all time. It's kind of just like okay. It's a meh signing, middle of the road. Average. I think that he has a chance to be average for the New York Jets, which would be an upgrade over Laken Tomlinson. He's kind of like a cheaper, younger, more physical version of Laken, I guess. So, yeah, I guess you could take that as a win. Slight win, but a win nonetheless. Second guy, Javon Kinlaw. Called that one on the stream yesterday with Tigo that Javon Kinlaw just felt like this is going to fit the Robert Saleh, former first-round pick with the 49ers, bring him in to be a depth guy on the New York Jets. He signs a one-year deal. Money is not out yet as of recording at around 8:30 this morning on Tuesday. So Javon Kinlaw, one-year deal, again, former first-round pick, did not live up to the expectations in San Francisco. This is very reminiscent of when the Jets brought in Solomon Thomas, kind of same thing, high draft pick with the 49ers, just didn't work out, bounced around the league, found a home, as a depth piece on the New York Jets. Kinlaw is big, 6'5", 319. He's a pass rushing interior guy, though. He's not very good against the run. Last year was definitely his best year in the league. He had 31 pressures and 3.5 sacks, playing 44% of snaps. So this is a guy who's going to be a part of the rotation on the interior. I don't expect him to get up to 55% or anything like that. Like, we know Quinnen's going to play a majority on the interior of that defensive line. I would guess that Kinlaw is going to sit around 40-ish% of snaps. Again, a rotation piece. I don't think he slots in as a guaranteed starter. I don't think he plays a ton, but there's some upside as a pass rusher, and I don't think this stops you from re-signing a Quentin Jefferson type and also bringing back a Solomon Thomas and continuing to add on the interior defensive line. The next guy was my favorite signing of the night, by far, in my opinion. The Jets add their QB2. They get their backup quarterback, and it's Tyrod Taylor. 2 years, up to $18 million. So I don't think his cap hit is going to be in the high, like 9. I don't think you take the AAV of 18. I think it's going to be lower than that. We'll see on his cap hit, but I'm going to guess it's probably going to be closer to 5-6 million. I've always liked Tyrod Taylor's game, even going back to his days in Buffalo. He's a little bit mobile. He has a strong arm. He's a game manager, doesn't throw a lot of interceptions. Is he a little bit boring at times? Yeah, like he's not going to throw, 30 touchdowns in a season, but he's not going to turn the ball over. He's going to manage a game, and that's what I like from my backup quarterback. He started 5 games for the Giants last year, had 5 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, 64.4 completion percentage, 89.1 rating. That's basically where he's been for his career. He's a career 88.3 rating, 65 touchdowns to 29 interceptions in 58 starts in his NFL career. 2-year deal. Aaron's backup for the next 2 years, and that doesn't stop you from being able to draft a guy on day 2 or day 3. The one negative with Tyrod is that he has gotten banged up. Granted, he tends to get banged up against the Jets, so maybe that will stop because now he's a member of the Jets. But you're probably going to need a third option, which is okay because I'm okay with the Jets drafting a guy in the 3rd, 4th, 5th round, whether it's Spencer Rattler, Jordan Travis, Michael Pratt, a name like that. I think is worth taking a swing on. Have him sit behind Aaron Rodgers and Tyrod Taylor for the next 2 years, and maybe that's the way the Jets finally find their franchise guy. Maybe. I mean, they've taken a billion swings in the first round, and it hasn't worked out, so who knows? Maybe a 4th-round pick that sits for 2 years ends up being the guy. You never know. The NFL's weird, but I would be in on it. And Tyrod, man, he still throws a pretty deep ball. Even at his age. Gotta love it. All right, we close with names to watch. Had to cross off Aaron Jones like seconds before I started recording. He's going to go to Minnesota. So again, this is as of recording just after 8:30 in the morning on Tuesday. Names to watch that are still available at wide receiver: Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd, Curtis Samuel. All 3 of those guys are intriguing. Calvin Ridley still being around. Connor Hughes believes that maybe that's a good thing for the New York Jets. At running back, J.K. Dobbins, Kareem Hunt, guys like that. At the offensive line, Tyron Smith, David Bakhtiari, George Fant, Kevin Zeitler. Those are all names that I could totally see being linked to the New York Jets. My preference of this group, Calvin Ridley, Tyler Boyd at wide receiver are my favorite options. At the offensive line, would prefer Tyron Smith over Bakhtiari, even though I've expressed some concern with Smith and his injury history. Zeitler, I think, would be a home run. That would be my favorite option left. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I'm Matt O'Leary, and I'll catch you next time.